Alright, guys, so this is the final episode of the Dotfiles series. At least for now, like I have not made any major changes to my Dotfiles. So this will cover the actual Emacs configuration, which is the largest part of my configuration, or the largest single program at least. So beginning with the property. The property of header args is set to elisp. What this means is, oh sorry, rather for every elisp block, it will tangle to this file config emacs init.tel, and it will create the directory if it does not exist. So for example, in desktop we did not have this because each configuration would have a different path. But in Emacs it's all into one file, so we don't have to put this again and again for each like code block. Regarding lexical binding, so it's some elisp stuff. You can check it out. I do not know what it does. It just like changes how the way variables are stored in memory or how they're accessed. But I copied this from System Crafters. This is copied from straight .ele documentation. Okay, now no littering. So normally Emacs creates these like hashtag, like so it will have the file name with hashtag or dot and stuff to save as backup and log files, but I don't want that. And also, I think it does some changes for other programs, like other packages directories as well. Like if you go to convert Emacs, it it makes them put the files in this good arranged manner with etc and var and whatnot, according to like Unix convention and stuff. Now moving on, this just starts the Emacs daemon. uh, Setting the API pin entry mode. Basically what this does is it lets you use Emacs as the uh, pin entry, meaning the password entry program. So if you, let's say, if access an SSH command and your SSH key is not unlocked yet with the daemon and stuff, you can enter your password in the mini buffer instead of having to open a separate GUI for that. For UI, it mixes a bunch of stuff like the menus and whatnot. So I'm disabling that. Um, okay, now fonts. I just use two fonts for English: Monospace, which is JetBrains Mono, and Sans Serif, which is Roboto. So just I like prefer to configure this in the font config in one place, so other programs can also pick it up. Here I'm just setting. What am I setting actually? Yeah, I'm setting the default and variable pitch fonts to the respective versions. For Unicode, I have some emoji and some Arabic text. That's mainly the stuff that I use. So for emojis, it is two emoji, and Arabic, you have to like specify Unicode range and then give the font. Now, yeah, line numbers. Firstly, I have it display line numbers by default, except for these type of buffers, and it is relative. What that means is, if I go to this random file, so it's relative. Like, sorry, uh-uh. Yeah. So it is relative. So this is the absolute one. The line you're on will be shown properly, and all of these are relative to the line that you're on. So that's helpful. Like that's actually really helpful when you have like a large file. Um, okay, whatever. And you want to go to just this line. You can do 6 and J, or 6 and down arrow, and you can go there and stuff. Also, it just looks nice. For theme, I'm using Cat Fusion for the whole system. Um, yeah, mode line. This is do mode line with basically no changes except for mode line height. And I'm installing all the icons so that I can get these nice icons. Nothing special. Diminish. I forgot what this does actually. Wait, let me check. Let me check. Um, Okay, they just like it sets it so that some minor modes are not displayed on the mode line, so there's more space. It's not special. For calendar, I have just the holiday setup with some extra holidays that I've added, or rather, I think I copied the default list and I just put the ones that I wanted and removed all others. This is normal stuff. Like you can just answer with Y and N instead of yes or no. Okay, yeah. Recent files. This is mostly copied from the documentation also. Word count, save place. Okay, this sometimes is necessary when if when you want to run, like when you have stuff like pnpm or golang installed and the binary directory of that is added to your path from your profile, but that will not be loaded by ishell sometimes. So or by Emacs also sometimes. So yeah. For Scratch Buffer, I'm not using the original Scratch Buffer. I'm using IELM, Interactive Emacs List Mode. So I can do it's a bit it's a bit nicer. You can check it out. I think I had made. Oh, sorry. I think I had made a video about it. Or I don't know. I posted it with some other name. Okay, now Evil. This is basically Vim key bindings for Emacs. This whole thing, like, there's no point in explaining all of this. This is 99% copied from System Crafters. Mm, also with Evil collection. Now Vertigo. For completions, like the last time I checked, there were three ways. First is that you just use the default Emacs configuration, which is not really that good. Like it's clunky. Second is you have these mega packages like Helm and company mode, etc. But there was this third thing that emerged, which was using Emacs. It was just hooking into Emacs's default function. So, for example, in Helm, if you want to, let's say, find a file, you have to do Helm find file, and it goes into the whole Helm ecosystem where it is uh, it is integrated properly. But this new generation of packages are modifying the functions or the components that find file itself calls, and so that way they're more minimalistic and they're more like Unixy. Again, marginalia is the package that gives you this info on the right side. All the icons. Wait, I forgot what this does. Uh, um, I forgot what it does actually, but I think it adds some stuff right here. Uh, mm, okay, I think it should add some stuff, but I forgot. Okay, whatever. Which key is actually very nice. So let's say like in Emacs, for getting help about a variable, you have Control H and then V. But let's say I forgot that, so I can just press Control H, and with after some time, it will give me this list. So it actually helps a lot in learning key bindings. Also helpful. Right. So let's say you got to this stage, right? And which key which key reminded you of the program. Now, when you're in the thing itself, let's say you want to learn about this diminution mode. The helpful package it actually makes it a bit nicer, adds the references and stuff, and makes it clickable. So that's one more quality of life thing. Okay, Corfu. Corfu is basically the minimalistic replacement of company mode. Okay, look, what I'll say is Emacs has a couple different types of completions. First is the mini buffer completion, which is this. EMS, whatever. Second is the in buffer completion, which is something like okay, wait, I'm not in a code file. But if I this this is the in buffer completion. So now the bloated versions, so to say, of the uh, in buffer completion is company mode, and the bloated version of the mini buffer completion is Helm mode. There's also Ivy, which is slightly more minimalistic, but I mean, I've not used it for a long amount of time. Now, the minimalist version of mini buffer completions is Vertigo, and the minimalist version of the in buffer completion is Corfu, or the pop up completion is Corfu, if that makes sense. So yeah, this is just standard stuff, like nothing special. Cape is it adds like some extra stuff to Corfu. Like for example, you have mainly for like emojis and stuff. But I don't really use it because I have a global binding for emojis. And I think it also like it will check your current file, and it will suggest lines in your file verbatim as suggestions. So sometimes you have to repeat it or do some slight changes. So that's helpful. Kind icon, yeah. So okay, wait. It basically is like, let's say you have a Python file for a function versus a variable versus like a keyword or like a reserved word. It will have different types of icons. That's what it does basically. Consult. Uh, consult. It does a lot of stuff. It's like it's like Vertigo, but it's trying to make it more integrated, like Helm. So this like Vertigo does a good job at hooking into the Emacs mini buffer and making it mostly, mostly good. But there's some features for which you have to use a separate function. Like for example, find file. If you want to make find file completely integrated, you need a separate function. For that, consult comes in. So for example, let's say I want to wait. Let's say I want to find for line uh, in this document, right? I can do the binding, which is consult line here, and I think I have a separate binder for that also. And whenever I type this, as I'm moving through it, it gives me the preview. So this kind of stuff cannot be done with just modifying the Emacs functions. That makes sense. But okay. Anyways, this bunch of stuff that I've done, this is copied mostly. Um, right, yeah. Now Embark. I have not used Embark that much. You can check out System Crafter's video about it. But basically, it's like a right-click menu for Emacs. So if I press Control and semicolon, oh, sorry, uh, this it gives me like a right-click menu where I can do a lot of stuff. System Crafter explains this well, where normally in Emacs you have the function and then the argument to the function, but Embark actually reverses it. So you have the argument, like let's say the code block, and it gives you all the functions that can be done on it. Does that make sense? Prescient, I actually don't know how my packages are playing right now. Like prescient also exists, which tries to predict what you want from your history. But then there's also like Vertigo and Corfu, which have integration, but I'm not sure how they work because I also have Codium running with it. So I mean, I don't know how it's working, but it's working somehow. Org ID, this is a small thing for like sometimes I mess up